Bob's Breakfast.
Gary, the Hertfordshire Constabulary Photographic Society are taking photographs today. Where are they doing their photography?
Broadhall Way on the A602.
A602, Broadhall Way, heading in which direction?
Going south.
Going south. Okay. And how much are they charging for their photographs?
3 points for a little one.
Yes.
And 6 points for a big one.
Thank you very much, Gary.
106 BOBfm.
I'm Graham Mack. Latest news from Chris Hubbard.
They should have seen this coming, but the opening night of Titanic the Musical had to be abandoned. This was shortly after the ship hit the iceberg on stage, and they had to drop the safety curtain because plaster started crumbling from a back wall, onto the stage.
Wow.
Disaster hit in real life.
Wow, it could have been even worse. Maybe one of the fans of the movie, I mean, if the Titanic had actually collided with one of them, geez, that's when the ship would have really hit the fan.
Bob's Breakfast.
Morning, Adam.
Graham?
Yes?
How comes there's always a single shoe on the side of a road? Where's the other shoe gone?
Another one of the great mysteries of the world. Why is there always a single shoe? Did somebody lose a shoe? Or did there used to be two shoes there and somebody found a shoe? Maybe there were two shoes there and a one-legged person came along and went, brilliant, a new shoe.
Turn your knob to Bob.
So the Queen is going to Whipsnade Zoo today.
She is. She's off to the zoo.
A baby elephant that's been named after her.
Yes, that's right. She's going to meet this elephant.
That sounds kind of apt because, you know, they do have a lot in common.
Go on.
Well, the elephant is part of a captive breeding program.
Yes.
And they both live in an artificial environment where tourists wave at them and take their picture. So this obesity thing, primary school children.
This is the local government association. They've looked into these figures and they say the difference between 5-year-olds or thereabouts when they start school in reception class to when they leave about 11-year-olds, they say that the weight just packs on.
Yeah. And are they allowed to say that? Because you have to be very careful when you talk about people who are overweight.
Yeah.
Because there's this whole thing of fat shaming and, you know, if you get into that. There is some very subtle fat shaming, though. Mm-hmm. If you notice, these figures are represented in one of the papers today in a pie chart. We're talking about stuck stories this morning. What's yours? John Paul.
I got a pea stuck up my nose when I was a child.
Did you? What happened? Why did you stick the pea up your nose?
I can't remember. I didn't want to eat anymore, and I stuck one up my nose.
Yeah.
And then my sister was trying to get it out, and she was using a safety pin. And I remember starting bleeding, and I was starting to get worried. And then someone made me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And when I laughed, it come out.
Miscommunication. Joe.
I got a strange email, and I never discovered who sent it.
Yes.
It said, you slug-faced vash, you slug-faced vash.
Mm-hmm.
No, it said, you fat slug-faced vash.
Right.
You fat slug-faced vash, I hope you get stuck in a cabbage and eaten by a rabbit.
It's quite the insult, Joe.
Yes, and he just signed the Scarlet Pimpernel.
Really?
So, I never discovered who it was.
Did you email them back?
No, because I was a bit scared, a bit scared too. It seems.
Well, no one wants to get eaten by a rabbit now, do they? Yeah, I can sympathise, yeah. All right, hey, Joe, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Kev's on the phone.
It's about the funny stories about seeing things on roofs of cars.
What's the most bizarre thing you've seen on the road?
Well, I was going down into Sapple and I see this car and it looked like the roof was lifting up of the car. And as I got closer, there's 4 arms hanging out to each of the windows holding the bloody mattress on the car.
There was one arm out of each window holding the mattress on the roof of the car.
But the worst thing about it, it's starting to rain.
Oh no!
As I got closer, I didn't realise it wasn't just one mattress. It was a single bed as well.
There's a single bed and a mattress, all on the roof of the car, and not even tied on. Just one arm out of each window holding it on.
Yeah.
Amazing, Kev.
It's crazy, absolutely crazy.
Don't wolf whistle in France. It's illegal there. In fact, they've just increased the fines for it. What do you reckon about this then, Sam?
I reckon it's a load of tish.
Right.
Sorry, I know that sounds really quite blunt, but it is. I mean, wolf whistling has been around for years and years and years. Nobody's ever complained before now. And it's a few, it's like a minuscule amount of people that don't like it. But you get wolf whistled at, whether you're male or female, and in general, it's quite appreciated. You know, if you get wolf whistled, there must be something right with you.
So do you think this law is being brought in by people who've never been wolf whistled then?
I don't know. I mean, you get some people that just want to complain about everything.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, I mean, if somebody wolf whistled me now, it'd be the first time in about 25 years, and I'd be over the moon.
Gender bending. Yeah, have you been a gender bender when you found yourself wearing the clothes of the opposite sex? Pete's a gas fitter. How are you?
Morning, Graham. Yes, one of these situations where you've accidentally sort of put something on that you shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I had cracked lips.
Yes.
So before going to work, I picked up the old lip seal, moistened the lips, one out to work, only to realise, 3/4 through the day, I've actually put lip shimmer on. I picked up my wife's like shimmer lipstick or lipstick sealer, whatever it is they call it, and used that instead.
And you looked fabulous.
I'm sure I did, Graham. I'm sure I did, but I was wondering why I was raising a few eyebrows with people looking at me.
Thanks for sharing, Pete.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you. You moved to a new house somewhere...
Middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere, okay, that one. And you've been doing it up. And you've been sorting out a greenhouse as well.
So the next stage is to get some veg in there.
Okay.
My mum turned up with 21 tomato plants.
You going to pee on them?
What?
You know, I know a little bit about everything. And the little bit I know about growing tomatoes is you got to pee on them.
I'm planting Gardener's Delight on this side. It's halfway between a cherry and a normal-sized tomato, but it's great. Eaten raw, it makes very good sauce, and it's a reliable tomato. Now, spacing is quite critical. So roughly 15 inches equidistant is all they need. At this time of year, a good soak once a week should be enough.
Bob's Breakfast.
The Great British Bake Off is making front page news. Yes, a TV show about cooking. A baking contest. It was big news that it's moved from the BBC to Channel 4. And now it's just big news because it's on. With new hosts. Honestly, if a baking contest can be a hit TV format, what else is out there that could bring in the ratings? Joe?
An idea for a TV format.
Yes.
Vegetarian fishing.
And how would vegetarian fishing work, Joe?
You have competitors lined up and they each have a fishing rod and line, but there's no hook on the line. They just sit there and wait and wait. But the thing is, whoever can wait the longest is the winner.
Bob's Breakfast.
Let's get the latest news, Chris Hubbard.
Trending on Twitter this morning, Boaty McBoatface.
Is it back?
The submarine has returned home.
Oh, no, you see, now it was the ship, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Arctic Surveyor or whatever the thing was. It was being built and the competition to name it, Boaty McBoatface. And the weasels that ran the competition decided not to do what they said, which is we'll name the boat after the number one, which was Boaty McBoatface. So instead they named the submarine after it, which is a real kind of like a parenty thing to do, isn't it? You know, I tell you, like Julie had this and she'll never forget it. She had 2 older brothers and an older sister. She's the youngest of 4. Star Wars comes out and they decide she's too young to see it. I don't know what age she was. All her older siblings went to see Star Wars. Her parents took her to the planetarium instead. And she's still not over that.
How disappointing.
Hey, good morning to Sue in Panshanger. Listen, I've just spoken to your hubby. You've no idea how sorry he is. He's really messed up. And he would love to talk to you. He wants you back. He really means it. And if you can just pick up the phone and have a chat with him. The man is full of regret. He loves you to bits. Give him a call, Sue. Good morning, Sue.
Hello. You just did an announcement for Sue in Panshanger.
Yeah, it was for you. Steve just called. Steve has just called me, and he really is upset. He knows he's made a huge mistake. He loves you more than life itself, and he wants you to forgive him and take him back.
I'll call him. Thank you.
You'll call him. Give him a call, Sue.
Thank you.
No worries at all. Thank you. Good luck.
Bye.
Bye. That iconic guitar riff. When you think about all the great guitar riffs in Police songs, like From Every Breath You Take, Walking on the Moon, Do-Do-Do-Do, Da-Da-Da-Da, Message in a Bottle, they're all great. And they're all from a bloke called Andy Summers. He was a guitar player in the Police. And earlier this week, I had a chat with him on the phone. He lives in Santa Monica in California. And he wrote a book in 2006. It was called One Train Later. And in 2012, it was turned into a movie called Can't Stand Losing You, Surviving the Police. It wasn't called One Train Later. So I asked him, why did they change the title?
Because they're wankers, that's why. They're corporate wankers, and they don't understand. I had a super hip title, One Train Later, great.
Yeah.
They turn it into that because they think it's commercial and it's going to bring more people in, because they don't know what they're talking about. So they undersell the project instead of, being true to it.
Yeah.
That's what you have to deal with, just bullshit. And I fought that, believe me.
Bob's Breakfast.
Amazing story has come out about this bloke who found a badger in his house. The badger was at the top of the stairs. He came home and it was looking at, first he thought it was a cuddly toy, then he shooed it off with a broom. He had a brush with wildlife. Literally. What's your brush with wildlife story, Keith?
Hello, Graham. A few years back, I was in the New Forest at a wedding reception, staying in this little, nice little B&B.
Yeah.
And I woke up in the morning, and I thought, what's that rubbing up against me bum cheek? Something nice and warm. I thought, well, I don't remember getting lucky at the wedding reception or anything like that, bringing someone back to the B&B.
Yeah.
And I turned round, and I looked, and what it was, where I was in the ground floor room, I set the window open, there was a New Forest pony rubbing its nose against me bum.
Now, had the New Forest pony,
my God.
He's just stuck his head through the window.
Stuck his head through the window. So, of course, I went down for my breakfast and I said to the woman, oh, God, I've had a New Forest pony out his head through the window, frightened the life out of me this morning. She went, oh, yeah, the travelling salesman that normally has that round during the week feeds it toast through the window every morning.
Joe.
Morning, Graham. Quick one, nicknames.
Yes.
I used to be in the fire brigade, and lots of nicknames in there. Everybody knows that. And we used to have a guy. He was known as Snoz.
Snoz.
Snoz, for all the reasons you would expect, but everybody knew him as Snoz.
Right.
And so
because he had a big nose.
Indeed, he was roaming all over his face, all the usuals, yeah. But I only ever knew him as Schnoz, and frankly, for the first 2 years, I didn't even think to ask what his first name was.
Right.
And this is so long ago now, we didn't have mobile, so we used to have a phone on the station, and wives and people would phone into the station if they wanted to speak to their loved ones. One night the phone rings, a lady asked for Nicholas, and I said, I'm very sorry, but we don't have a Nicholas on our watch. Put the phone down, genuinely, and it was his wife.
It was his missus. Thought, where's he been going all these years, for all these hours?
I had no idea. He's still today, 32 years on, known as Schnoz.
So, did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, busy one.
I went up north. My mate Dickie Thomas, who I've known since I was 2, so I've known him for a long time, and Dickie lived next door to me. So we literally walked to school together on our first day at school and went through high school together and everything, and I don't see him that much. So he says, we'll go out for a drink with a couple of my mates. And he texted me and he said, we'll go to the Sportsman's Arms, which is in a place called Penketh. And Penketh is 3 miles from where we grew up in Great Sankey. So once we're there, Dickie shows up and I said, it's a nice enough pub, but, why are we here? Why are we not at one of the pubs like the Chapel House or something in Sankey? Why are we here? Yeah. And he went, I like to come here, 'cause it's handy for Greggs. And I thought, well, there must be some kind of pasty involved later on in the evening.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, well, Greg's open this late. Well, anyway, 10 minutes later, he introduces me to one of his mates. He said, this is Greg. Good morning, Chris. What can I do for you?
Just to agree with you about Cyclists.
Yes.
Also, I heard the guy that was interviewed in the report this morning.
On Sky,
saying, yeah, how much health he felt breathing all that fresh air. Well, surely if he's riding on the roads, he's breathing all the diesel fumes that are going past him.
I know, at the moment, the government are trying to ban diesel cars because they're saying it makes the air poisonous. How can the same news organisations then run a report that says sucking it all up while heavy breathing because you're riding a push bike in it is good for you? Make your mind up. It's one or the other. It can't be both.
That's right. He also said that he felt invigorated when he got to work. Well, surely he'd be all hot and sweaty and in need of a shower.
Yeah, who wants to sit next to him? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cyclists.
Especially if he's wearing lycra.
Oh, yeah. And it's always blokes who never... Well, nobody looks good in lycra anyway, let's face it. It's always people who shouldn't be wearing lycra. There is something wrong with them. People who get on push bikes and ride them on public roads have a mental illness.
I couldn't agree more.
Chris Hubbard has the news.
Do you reckon Elvis is still around?
No.
No?
Why would Elvis be alive? The theory is that maybe he faked his own death.
Yeah.
Now, I get that, okay? Elvis was probably the most famous person in the world, which has got to be a drag. There is a chance that Elvis said, you know what, I just want to go back to being unknown. I want my life back. And he may have faked his own death and then now lives in disguise as not Elvis. I get that. That's possible.
Yeah.
Okay. But here's the thing that lets it down. You're the most famous person in the world and you're planning to fake your own death. The first thing you've got to go is, well, how am I going to pretend to die? I don't think you would come up with, I know, I'll die on the toilet trying to pass a giant turd.
Bob's Breakfast.
We were talking about skiving this morning. When you've shirked and got away with it, what have you managed to get away with? Bloke on the phone doesn't want to be named, wants to be anonymous.
That's probably wise.
Yeah, I think so. Because this happened, this is something you were up to on the night shift?
Yeah, years ago working at Luton Airport, I used to sneak out to a woman's house.
Who did? You did?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So, on the quiet, when you're supposed to be at work, You snuck off to someone's house. What for?
Maybe a cup of tea.
Cup of tea?
Cup of tea. Yeah, cup of tea, yes.
That's all it was, cup of tea.
Yeah, one night I was late back to work, so...
Oh, were you? Wow.
Yeah, I got a second cup. So.
Right, okay, right, yeah. Right, and you never actually got sprung?
A couple of colleagues knew.
Oh, right, but you never got... No, but work never said anything that, So you're actually on the payroll, and you're actually on the job?
On the job, yes.
Lisa's on the phone. You want to chip in about this gender debate we're having this morning?
Oh, you know what? I would be lying if I said, and I think a lot of women share this view, I would love to be a wolf whistle. Why not?
Right.
Put a little spring in my step. And actually, if I'm totally honest with you, I've been known to give a few wolf whistles out myself when I'm out with the girls, to
right then.
Any gorgeous builders or whatever. And
well, in France, they're on about making it against the law to wolf whistle in public.
Oh, that's just nuts. I'm sorry. I mean, I would find it a huge compliment if somebody was to wolf whistle me. I'd smile. I'd say thank you very much.
So Scott, who belongs to an organisation, Men Fight Back, you agree with him that this is just going too far now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Lisa, thank you very much.
Goodbye, Graham. I will whistle you as well.
Okay, there we go. All right, good job we're not on the radio in France. All right, okay, thank you very much, Lisa.
Neighbour.
Sarah.
I used to live in Stevenage.
Yeah.
So we've had some quite outrageous neighbours.
How do you mean outrageous?
Lots of being intimate, loudly.
Noisy.
Yeah.
Okay. And what?
Yeah, very, very noisy.
Oh, really? Now, indoors?
Indoors and outdoors.
Oh, wait a minute. Outdoors? Where?
Yeah. So we lived in Bedwell in Stevenage. And we just had some. I think they were young.
Yes, and in love.
In love, obviously.
Yes.
So they were just like that all the time, basically.
Oh my goodness! Indoors, outdoors, it made no difference.
Outdoors, to a point where we were having to, literally shout, "Will you just stop, please?"
Really? Nearly chucked a bucket of water over them.
Yeah. And the gardens, because we live in a terrace.
Yes.
So it's not exactly, shall we say, it's kind of on display.
Oh my goodness. And it was all going on, the full Monty.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh dear. Jeez. Well, wow.
Bob. Now, children these days have become used to having a digital assistant at their beck and call. You shout for Siri, you shout for Alexa. But according to a study, this generation is risking rudeness towards real humans because they've become used to barking orders with no consequences, according to this report. So figures show 42% of children aged between 9 and 16 use voice recognition gadgets at home. The most popular option is Siri. That is the most popular one.
But Siri's rubbish.
We've talked about this before.
Hey, Siri. See? Nothing.
No response.
Siri, not even talking to me. Why aren't you talking to me this morning?
Is that what you think?
Yes, I think you've decided to not talk to me this morning and I don't know why. Tell me why. Nothing.
No.
It's just rubbish.
She's giving you the silent treatment.
Hey, Siri. Are you giving me the silent treatment?
Sorry, Graham. I don't really know.
You don't know anything, do you? Are you giving me the silent treatment?
Who, me?
Yes, you, cloth ears.
Sorry, I can't manage clocks here. You can do it in the clock app.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jane in Langley. How are you?
I've been listening to your game.
Yes, do you like them? Which game do you like?
I like Donald or Duke.
Yes, that is the game where I tell you something that somebody said and you have to tell me whether it was said by Donald Trump or it was said by the Duke of Edinburgh. Who asked a 24-year-old sea cadet, who asked them Do you work in a strip club? Was that Donald Trump or the Duke of Edinburgh? Do you work in a strip club? Asked to a 24-year-old sea cadet. Was that Donald or Duke?
Well, it's a bit seedy. And Donald Trump's a bit seedy.
Yes.
So I'm going to go Donald.
You're saying Donald said that. It's the wrong answer. The correct answer is the Duke of Edinburgh.
He
said this is. It was in 2010. He was talking to Elizabeth Rendell, a 24-year-old Barnstable sea cadet. He said, "Do you work in a strip club?"
Priceless. He is absolutely.
Join us again next time for my new experimental game, Donald or Duke, on Bob FM.
Here we are. Bob's Breakfast.
Joe's on the phone. Morning, Joe.
How you doing today, buddy?
Very good.
Hey, dude, I wonder if you can do me a big favor.
Uh-huh.
I'm about to take my son to school, and we listen to your show every day on the way to school.
Okay.
And today's his 6th birthday.
6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you would do me a favor, like in 10 minutes, if you could wish him a happy birthday over the air, that would be amazing.
Okay, and what's his name?
Noah Brown.
Noah Brown is 6 today. Let's see if I can do this. Today is Noah's birthday. I got the word from Joe. Today is Noah's birthday. He told me all I need to know. Today is Noah's birthday. Happy birthday, Noah. You're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 today. Yes, we're going to a party. Yes, we're going to a party. Yes, we're going to a party, yeah. Happy birthday, Noah!
That's awesome, Brown.
This is Bob.
I almost shouted something embarrassing in Asda yesterday.
Really?
As I walked in, there's a lady carrying some shopping and some clothes she'd bought.
Mm-hmm.
And she's in the queue at the checkout. And I'm walking past. And then the happy to help lady points out that there's an empty checkout at the other end of the checkout row. So this lady grabs her stuff and she runs for it. Just then, she drops one of the items of clothing. It's a pair of lacy panties.
Right. Were they tucked away under the rest of the shopping?
Must have been. They're on a little hanger.
Okay.
Anyway, so she's now off down the other end of the shop, and about halfway between me and her are these undies. And the happy to help lady saved me because she managed to attract the lady's attention and let her know what had happened. Because I swear, I'd just taken a deep breath and was about to shout, "Excuse me! Your knickers have fallen down!"
You've probably seen the devastating images of war-torn Syria on the TV, but a Welwyn Garden City woman is set to experience the troubles firsthand, flying out to Beirut today before taking a 4-hour road journey to the Syrian border. Sylvia Mashej is a member of the Focolari community in Welwyn Garden City, a movement which aims to build a more united world. That's the latest from the BOBfm newsroom. More at 6:30.
Thanks a lot, Chris. So that's it. England out of the World Cup. And this, it was exciting while the dream lasted.
Yeah.
And this is going to sound harsh, but when you boil it down, when you look at all the other problems in the world, it's just a game. And England will be back, and they'll play again, and one day they will win something big. And that's what you've got to remember. And just look at other things going on this planet, like that lady who's going to Beirut.
Yeah. And she's on her way to Beirut, then Syria.
Yeah. People have got real problems. And the name of this community that she belongs to?
It's the Focolari community.
Coincidentally, that very same word is what a lot of people said when that Croatian winning goal went in last night. A robot cemetery in Russia. This is where you take your gadgets that you know when they die, and you're really grieving for them. So, talking about the gadgets you've had that when they went, you really felt it. And Darren, you used to have one of these, a stylophone.
Yeah. Well, I wanted one for my 10th birthday, and I didn't get one, so I was pretty gutted. But I got one that same year on the Christmas.
Right.
And within a week, I ran out 3 batteries. You know them little square things that you can put on your tongue?
Oh, little 9 volts, yeah.
Yeah, them little one things, and I drove my mum mental with it, and in the end, apparently, right, it got chewed up by one of the dogs, because we had two Alsatians, Husky and Sabre.
Right.
But you could clearly see, that a hammer had gone through it. I mean, I weren't sure whether it was my mum or whether it was my idiotic brother, At the end of the day, it was a case of bottom lip syndrome, I didn't cry.
Oh, no.
It was I was gutted. I waited so long for it, and then I only had it just over a week.
Well, clearly somebody had enough of it after a week. Yeah.
Well, I reckon it was my mum.
Yeah.
Who bought it in the first place.
Yeah, it could well have been.
Yeah, you knew.
This is Bob.
What can I do for you this morning, Jill?
Graham, I just wanted to know, in a couple of minutes' time, Alfie is 14 today. I was just wondering, because he listens to you every morning, you can just say happy birthday for me.
Oh, now let's see. I could sing Alfie a birthday song.
I think you should, Graham.
So what do I need to know about Alfie?
He goes to Marriott School in Stevenage.
Yeah.
And he's got loads and loads of snakes and dragons and loads of different reptiles, tortoises and etc.
Okay, then let me see if we could have a bit of... Today is Alfie's birthday, and Alfie's pretty cool. Today is Alfie's birthday. He goes to Marriott School. Oh, and he loves his reptiles. Happy birthday to you. You're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 today. Yes, we're going to a party. Yes, we're going to a party. Yes, we're going to a party, yeah.
It's breakfast on Bob.
Survey out this week says that kids are going on fewer school trips than they were a generation ago. Isn't that sad? School trips are just amazing. You usually come back with a story. What's your school trip story, Ben?
We went to Austria.
Wow.
In secondary school first to go skiing.
Yeah.
And there was rooms of, I think they held about 5 or 6 people in each room.
Mm-hmm.
And we was all mucking about in one of the rooms, and we all sort of play fighting as you do. Someone's kicked a large bottle of Coke on the wall, and it's hit a pitcher and broke the pitcher.
Right.
Now, we're all panicking now. It's a really old, Austrian little fires in the corner, a really old building.
Oh, yeah.
So we sort of started panicking. So we got one person with, socks mopping up the Coke. Someone else doing nothing, and then there was 3 of us trying to stick this picture frame back together. So that involved all of us chewing packs and packs of Hubba Bubba. Remember that chewing gum?
Bubble gum, yeah, to stick.
And we stuck the whole frame back with Hubba Bubba. Hung it back on the thing, and we've never heard anything of this. We thought that was genius.
It really was the perfect crime.
It was, and we all got away with it. No, we were all told, no damage to the rooms.
You're all bonded, and there's the cone of silence. No one squeals on this.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so... and
snitches get stitches.
Snitches get stitches. Yeah. Oh, Ben, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, mate.
That's a great story you brought us earlier about the kid left behind.
Yeah, not very happy at all, I don't think. I think the kid was only about 14.
School trip to London from Newcastle upon Tyne. They head back on the train. He's not on the train, left behind at King's Cross.
Yeah.
Jeez, what's your left behind story? Karen?
My daughter got left behind.
Where?
In the hospital car park.
How old was she?
About 3-4 weeks old.
And who left her behind?
Her dad.
Tell me the story.
I had an appointment at the hospital.
Yes.
And I had got 2 girls at this time. One was 2. Baby girl was, 3-4 weeks old. Got to the hospital, so he dropped me and the eldest daughter off and then went off to park.
Yeah.
And then when he got to the clinic we was in, he came round, sat down. Nothing, didn't have the baby. We knew a couple of people that worked at the hospital. My instinct was, maybe she's been having a cuddle with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And then after, it seemed about a minute, I said, where's the baby? And he's like, yeah, I'll be back in a minute.
Oh, what an idiot.
And and the car was, because, the door was unlocked. She was, luckily enough, she was still in the car fast asleep.
Oh. Do you ever let him forget it?
Did I mention he's now my ex-husband?
How about that? Parking stories this morning. What's yours, Lynn?
You're going to absolutely love this one. This is true, definitely true. My mum was a traffic warden.
Right.
And when my eldest girl, who's now 36, was when she was about 4 or 5, I had to go to the shops to get some bits from our local co-op in Cheshunt. And I parked with her outside the shop. She was in the car, locked her in, charged in, got the bits I needed. Literally, I was only no more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Got back to the car, and she used to call my mum Mama. She never called her Grandma.
Right.
And she said, Mum, Mama came and put that thing on the windscreen of the car.
No. No.
Yes. My own mother gave me a ticket.
Did she know it was your car?
My her granddaughter was in the back of the car. So when I got home, I rang her and said, Mum, what are you doing giving me a ticket? She said, you were parked illegally. You are not my daughter when you're on the road with a car. And if I had left you out, all the other cars that also got tickets would have complained.
I think your mum's taking the job too seriously.
Yeah, so do I. I could not, but I had to laugh.
Well, yeah,
because
but now,
I could not believe my own mum would give me a ticket.
I give traffic wardens a hard time, but this is proof right here, isn't it? That they deserve everything they get. Are the Russians ready to invade us? There was a Russian submarine in the English Channel on the weekend. The Royal Navy ship HMS Somerset spotted it off the east coast of the UK on Friday morning and followed it through the Strait of Dover. Last month, Somerset's sister ship HMS Sutherland escorted 2 Russian warships that sailed close to UK waters. And the Russians keep doing this. RAF jets keep getting scrambled to keep an eye on Russian military planes that fly close to the UK. In February, Typhoons were deployed to monitor 2 nuclear-capable Tupolev Tu-160 Blackjack bombers. A lot of people are worried about what the Russians are up to. Well, if they're trying to mount a sneak attack, they're rubbish at it. Their planes always fly past in daylight. And that submarine was spotted on the surface. All Vladimir Putin is doing is showing off. Those planes and this submarine wanted to be seen. They were posing. That wasn't a periscope. That was a middle finger. Good morning, Vince. What do you got?
I was listening to your stories earlier in the week about, the mistext and...
oh, yeah, miscommunication stories,
yeah. Absolutely. And I went a little bit different to that. I didn't do a text. It was a phone call.
Yeah.
I was doing a job for a lady, window and doors installation for her, and everything was in and going well, and I give her a phone call and got through to the answer phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to her, Mrs. Jones, been just about your windows and your doors, and Jim will be around on Saturday to fit them, and if there's any problems, just give me a ring. Okay, thank you very much. I love you. Put the phone down, and I suddenly turned around to my mate and I went, did I just say what I thought I said? He went, yeah, you did. And I went, which is what I always say to my wife when we finish a conversation.
Just a reflex action. Yeah.
Absolutely. And anyway, I had to go over there that Saturday night, and I'm thinking, oh, bless her, she was about maybe a little bit older than me, but she didn't say anything, bless her. She didn't, she was very pleasant, a very pleasant lady. Anyway, she paid me, and she paid me in cash.
Right.
And I got back to the office, and now whether this is a coincidence or not, I will never know. I'm counting out the money, and right in the centre was her photograph.
That's no coincidence, Vince. You were in there, my friend.
It frightened the life out of me. I thought, what am I going to do?
So what did you do?
I didn't, well, to be honest, I just tore it up and put it in the bin. I thought, tell their wife, and I'm happily married.
Bob's Breakfast.
Researchers in France say they've taught a whale to speak.
That is incredible.
The keeper talks to the whale and then the whale replies.
Okay.
Hello?
And they reckon this is talking. Can I hear that again?
Okay.
Hello?
It's just making a whale noise.
It's just making a whale noise.
Yeah.
Okay, so they go on a bit more.
Hello?
Yeah, I mean, it's got the tone.
It's not hello.
No, it's not. It's...
Hello?
That's not even close.
There's an owl in my back garden makes a noise like that.
You've got a talking owl.
Yeah. Need to get onto the papers.
Hello?
What was that? It's not even close to hello.
No.
That may be how English sounds to people who speak French and don't speak English.
Maybe this is what it is.
Hello?
Was that the whale?
That was the whale.
Possessed by something?
I say the whale is possessed. I say that's what you've got going on there.
That is just creepy. It's the stuff of horror movies. Imagine yourself walking down a dark corridor late at night, just a candle glimmering in the background, and suddenly you open a door to a cupboard and hear that noise.
Bob's Breakfast.
Chris brought us an amazing story from Worcester Cathedral of a bell ringer who got his heel caught in the rope and the rope winched him up into the bell tower. He had to get the fire brigade to lower him down 80 feet. Bonzi's on the phone. Morning, Bonzi.
Yeah, just listening to about the old bell ringer here. But apparently this happens quite a lot.
Oh, really?
All the time.
All the time! All the time!
Hello.
Goodness me. Let's ring him back. Bonzi, see if I can get him back on the phone.
Hello?
Bonzi, I heard that one fella got caught in the rope and it fired him up so far into the bell tower that he actually smacked into the bell with the front of his head.
Let me guess.
Go on then, finish it.
Go on. He ended up in hospital, and the police and everything came as well, and they all checked him out, and his face don't ring a bell.
Old ones are the best, aren't they?
Yeah, but do you know what else happened?
Go on.
His twin brother, his identical twin brother, he took over from him while he was sick, but he wasn't very experienced at it. Same thing happened to him, and he died.
Go on.
And he ended up falling to the bottom of the bell tower, and one bloke looks at him and goes, "That's the second time that's happened." And he says, "Oh, isn't it the same fella?" He says, "No, but he's a dead ringer for the other."
Get off.
This is Bob.
Badger.
It was about the, because you said you've always fancied riding a luggage carousel.
Yeah, I think that might be a good fun.
Well, the only thing is they're really slow, aren't they?
Yeah.
It just reminded me of the days when I worked in Letchworth many years ago we used to call it Can't Last, and it didn't, but it was ICL computers.
Right.
Yeah. And what they used to have, they had this metal roller bar system.
Right.
They put boxes on, and computers used to go on this hexagon wooden pallet, and used to have like metal handles either side.
So it was like a conveyor belt kind of thing then. It would move things
just
along.
a roller system.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
dropped it on, and then it just rolled down. Right?
Yeah.
Well, some guys that I worked with started the ICL toboggan team, right? So what they used to do, they used to run through the stores holding on to this pallet by both handles. Then they used to leap onto the roller system right, and start firing down. You could get quite fast, yeah?
Right.
And
So it wasn't powered like a conveyor belt. It was rollers. You had to push stuff on it. You had to push yourself along.
Weight driven, like.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as you got on it, you just kept moving.
Yeah, because it was downhill, yeah.
Yeah, downhill,
Yeah.
Gravity driven.
Yeah.
So and then while they were hacking down, we used to all sit there, just tapping on it and going ding, 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 oi, 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 as they were shot along. Yeah, I don't think the management was too happy, but
No, but that's just one of the fun things. It's one of the sidelines of work that you shouldn't be doing, but it makes the job more fun and it makes you go. And the bosses want to stop you doing that, but really, without that, you wouldn't bother going at all. You know what I'm saying?
It breaks the day up.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
There's a warning: a social media craze for clean eating could leave a generation with fragile bones. The National Osteoporosis Society says a fifth of 18 to 35-year-olds have cut or significantly reduced dairy in their diet, which is an important source of calcium.
So now we're not eating enough. Most days we're eating too much.
Yeah.
Now we're not eating enough. There's a worrying trend that young people are not eating dairy products.
Mm-hmm.
Which is it?
Well, if you listen to some scientists, we're eating too much and it's too fatty for us.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, people who are wanting this clean living diet.
It's funny out, though, when it's one of these things where we're not eating enough. Like, we've got to have, is it like 12 portions of fruit now? I can't remember how many. It went up from 5 a day.
It keeps going up and down.
Right. So when we're not eating enough, so we're not eating enough fruit, or we're not eating enough dairy, or we're not eating enough omega, or whatever the hell it is, it's our fault. It's always our fault. But when we're eating too much, it's never our fault. It's because fast food packaging doesn't have the ingredients on it. It's because there are junk food adverts on the telly. Wait, what are the other things we've had because we're fat?
The supermarkets are putting the unhealthy food in the wrong place near the checkout.
It's the supermarket's 2-for-1 deals.
Yes, that's
My favourite was, this was a few weeks back, it's because your doctor's fat. Do you remember that one?
I don't remember that.
They said that GPs should need to be encouraged to lose weight.
Yes, that's right.
Because they're not a good example to their patients.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why you're fat is because your doctor's fat. It's weird. Every time we're eating too much, it's never our fault. It's something else. But when we're not eating enough of something, it's all our fault. What's going on?
Britain's tech-savvy iPhone generation, as they're being called, may know what a dongle is, may know how to use an iPhone and even create an app, but are clueless when it comes to changing a light bulb. According to a survey, under 35s lack basic DIY skills, so...
They can change a light bulb. Well, that's an exaggeration, isn't it? Surely they can change a light bulb.
I know somebody who got a man in to go and change a light bulb for them.
Was there somebody female?
No.
Oh!
No,
you
it was a bloke.
You see, I've gone on about this before. We're witnessing the end of the human race. Not only are more female babies being born than males, but the young males are not masculine. Every generation is more feminine than the next. Admit it, Chris, your dad was more masculine than you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He could build things out of bricks and breeze blocks.
My dad built a garage out of bricks,
Yeah.
and he was a plumber. So, and I bet his dad was more masculine than him. Because his dad fought in the First World War.
Yeah, well, my granddad fought in the Second World War and worked down a mine.
Yeah, so each generation of male is becoming more and more metrosexual. And we're starting to... And, you've got people like girly man David Beckham. He tried to get lots of tattoos to look hard, but he's still a girly man. And these metrosexuals... Women love them, but they don't realise, no, sometimes you need a bloke. In a time of crisis, somebody has to change that wheel. Somebody has to change that light bulb.
Somebody has to bleed a radiator. That's really satisfying, though.
Yeah, rewire a fuse, or these days even just reset a circuit breaker. That's beyond them. Finding the fuse box, beyond them. It all changed when men started calling shirts tops. It's not a top, it's a shirt. It's not a top, it's a jersey. It's not a top, it's a sweater or a pullover. It's never a top. Tops are girls' clothes. It's never a top, ever. It's a t-shirt, it's not a top.
Well, according to this research, 8 in 10 young women expect their partner to be a decent DIYer and be able to do these things.
Yes, ladies, look what you're doing by being attracted to these metrosexuals and breeding with them. You're creating even more metrosexuals. You need to seek out the real men who will be there for you in a time of crisis. And when you go into the bathroom, they haven't stolen your hair straighteners or your goop. Can we start in the US of A? Donald Trump is on something. Have you heard this?
Go on.
Donald Trump slurring his words in a speech.
I've heard this, yeah.
Yeah, this is he's talking about the US's decision to move their embassy to Jerusalem. There's a little bit of it.
Let us rethink old assumptions and open our hearts and minds to possible and possibilities.
Hearts and minds. Let us open our hearts and minds.
And finally, I ask the leaders of the region, political and religious, Israeli and Palestinian, Jewish and Christian and Muslim, to join us in the noble quest for lasting peace. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Israel. God bless the Palestinians. And God bless the United States. Thank you very much. Thank you.
God bless the United States.
Can we hear that last bit again?
Can we hear the last bit again?
That was the best.
Oh, that is the best bit, isn't it? Oh, yeah.
God bless the Palestinians, and God bless the United States. Thank you very much. Thank you.
God bless the United States.
Was he in a bar at this
Who wants
point?
to drink?
Did you slam a tequila shot down on the table afterwards?
I don't know. It's a nice change, though. A Trump slur that isn't racial. Well, the world is facing a crisis, Chris. You brought us
crisis?
Well, you brought us news that the modern male may know how to do stuff with a laptop, might know how to do stuff with a phone, might understand what a dongle is, but cannot change a light bulb. And in a time of crisis, cannot change a wheel or a fuse or do anything manly at all because of the rise of the girly man.
That's right. Yeah, they're saying things like changing light bulbs and bleeding radiators.
Bleeding radiators that are dying out. These are things that you need men for, and it's the women's fault. The women have been attracted to the girly man for years because he uses moisturiser. And they've been breeding with them and breeding more girly men, and eventually, ladies, you will have no men to help you out in a time of distress. There will be no more men. We'll all just become one homogenized generic sex. There'll be no difference between women and men. You need a difference.
You need your man to smell of man.
The smell of man. Be a man.
Smell of oil. Engine oil.
That's right. I know what swarfiga is and how important it is.
Absolutely.
Know the difference between engine oil and gear oil. You know, these are important things. Joe's on the phone. Morning, Joe.
Good morning, Graham. I just wanted to let you know that the Heaney clan is doing its best to keep the testosterone male alive.
Yes.
My father was an Irish guard and went to war in Ireland.
Yes.
I was a firefighter for 14 years.
Firefighter, yes.
Yes, get in there. My eldest son is a roofer. My youngest son is currently studying in an apprenticeship to be a joiner and working on a building site. And all of my three boys are rugby players.
Joe, by breeding proper men, you might just save the human race.
I can only give it my best shot, Graham.
I appreciate you being there, Joe. Thank you very much for checking in.
Cheers, bud. Have a good day.
Ta-da, bye.
Turn your knob to Bob.
Well, what's going on in Scotland? They're not doing much to do anything about the reputation for the Scots and alcohol, are they?
Well, yeah, it's the first country to do this, isn't it? To bring in minimum pricing.
Minimum pricing for alcohol. Now, health campaigners are already asking for the rest of the UK to follow suit. We don't know if it'll work yet.
They're
just hang on a minute. Well, yeah. But has this been done anywhere else?
Well, no, it hasn't.
So they're just convinced it'll be... The whole idea of when you do research is you don't know what the result is going to be. That's why you do the research. You know, apart from certain radio stations, I've known radio stations that have wanted to make on-air changes and have done research, hoping the research will come back backing up what they're about to do anyway.
Yes.
If the research doesn't do that, the research disappears. If the research does say that, well, then it justifies them doing what they want to do. Radio, I think, is the only industry where they do research hoping to get the result that they want.
Yeah.
Rather than just going, well, let's just do some research and find out, which is the way you should do research. And so they're dismissing this thing as it's not research, it's not an experiment. In Scotland, they're having minimum pricing for alcohol.
That's right, yeah.
They think it will reduce the problems with alcohol.
Yeah, some of the cheaper alcohol, they reckon it'll prevent some of the sales of that.
Right. They don't think it might just lead to more alcohol-related crime. Surely it'll mean more shoplifting and off-licenses.
Because
if booze is more expensive. Yeah. Because what this basically does is said, it's okay for you to be poor, but you're not allowed to have a drink. Because if you're well off and have a problem with alcohol, this is not going to affect you at all. In fact, couldn't somebody argue that if you've got a problem with alcohol, it just means that you're going to spend more on the booze and ruin your life a bit quicker? Because you've got a problem with alcohol.
Yeah.
Drugs are illegal. And there are people that get addicted to drugs and have issues with drugs, and it costs them everything. People get addicted to gambling, and it costs them everything. It costs them their life. The price of gambling is about the highest it can possibly be. You lose your house, you lose your family, you lose everything. The price of addiction, not just gambling, but drugs and alcohol, the price of addiction is as high as it can possibly be. You lose your entire life. They reckon putting, 20p on a can of lager is going to make any difference to that? What's on your mind, Steve?
Well, I just wondered, you do this footballers, they don't make a fortune, don't they?
Yes, oh yeah.
Yeah, and you see the pundits, now on the television.
Yeah.
Why is it their clothes don't fit?
The pundits' clothes do seem a little tight, don't they?
They're always tight.
Yeah.
It's not just one of them. It's all of them.
Yeah. I don't know what that's all about. But good observation. What I want to know is the pundits in Russia doing the World Cup.
Yeah.
And every time they show you the pundits, there's a different one there, or they're different pundits. It's not the same team. Yeah. They're not actually at the match. Are they? They're actually in like Red Square outside the Kremlin. And they're watching the game on TV. So why did we need to fly them to Moscow to watch the game on TV when they could have watched the game in London and saved all that money flying them out? And like, they've flown loads of, it's not like there's just a team of 3. Every time it doesn't matter if it's BBC or ITV, there's a whole new set of pundits.
Yeah, but you see, this is the BBC going, and they're going out there, they're not really going out there to watch television.
No.
They're going out there to receive their instructions from the Kremlin.
Oh, I see.
In world domination.
Right.
So we get the message over the BBC.
Right. I now it all makes sense.
You need to keep up with these. This is what's going on.
And maybe the tightly fitting clothes have got something to do with that. Maybe the shirts and that and the trousers, they're being controlled by, and if they say the wrong thing, Putin turns a dial and the shirt tightens a bit more. You know, like how Darth Vader could like just squeeze with his hand and it choked the fellow without him touching him. That is what Putin's doing to the pundits.
Well, we know that when the buttons start flying, hitting the camera lens, won't we? So.
That's what's, yeah, as soon as a button pops off, you know someone's really said the wrong thing and Putin's turned that dial right up. We've worked it all out, Steve.
We have indeed.
Thank you very much. Doing the thinking for you on BOBfm.
We'll show those communists from the BBC.
Bob's Breakfast.
Cyclists should be banned from the roads. It's about the most dangerous thing you can do on the road, but strangely, conservative governments and health organisations are trying to encourage people to do this dangerous thing on the road. We need to ban cyclists. It's a stupid thing to do on the roads. Ian's on the phone. Morning, Ian.
The whole cycling thing.
Yeah, they're a nightmare.
You set back the safety of cyclists on the road, who aren't all dressed as sportsmen, as you well know. There's plenty of people that use bikes to get to work, and plenty of other things. You've just set back the whole cycling safety course by about 20 years, mate.
I think what you'll find is that I'm advocating cycling safety, because cycling is the most dangerous thing you can do on the road, and I'm trying to save lives. If you're advocating cycling, then you're the one that's asking people to be unsafe. It's an unsafe thing to do on the road.
How are people supposed to get to work?
They can get to work in lots of ways as long as they don't cycle. There's lots of ways for people to get to work. Cycling isn't the only way.
You're putting people in danger.
No, I'm not. You're putting people in danger by asking them to do a dangerous thing on the road, and I'm saying they should stop them.
Anybody to do anything.
Do you think people should be allowed to cycle a push bike on a road where there's a speed limit of 60 miles an hour? Well, why? It's hundreds of people are killed every year by doing this. They should stop doing it.
Who are they killed by, Graham? By drivers.
Yeah, but the drivers, for years, cyclists have been saying it's the driver's fault. And how's that working out for them? It hasn't fixed it. Drivers are always going to hit cyclists because it's a dangerous thing to do on the road.
Drivers are always going to hit cyclists because cyclists aren't respected in this country.
Well, but they've been asking for respect for 50 years and it hasn't worked. So why, if you keep doing something that you always do, you'll keep getting something that you always get. It's time to give up and say cycling is dangerous.
Someone on a low income who has to travel to get to work, how are they supposed to get to work?
Well, then that's a problem that they have to solve, but they shouldn't be risking their life on a push bike to get to work. That's crazy. Are you saying that that we should only... that poor people are being killed? What are you trying to do? Get rid of poor people by having them killed on the road?
I'm not talking to you anymore. You're an idiot.
What they should do is build cycle tracks off the roads so that people can ride their bikes safely. Riding a bike on the road is too dangerous. They need to stop it.
Cyclists are people. They're husbands, fathers, brothers.
Yes, and I want to save their lives, and you won't let me do that, and it will save their lives.
I'm not stopping you from saving anybody's life, Graham. You're putting people in danger the way you're going about it. I don't disagree with all of what you're saying, but the way you're going about it has set back cycle safety about 20 years in this area.
Cycling safety has not worked. The current system, how's that worked out for you? Hasn't worked. Time to ban it. Oh, he's hung up on me.
Turn your knob to Bob. Because if you don't, I'll cry.
Spend any amount of time with my family and you will feel like you're in a sitcom.
Right. You've spent quite a bit of time with them over the last couple of weeks, I'm guessing?
Yeah, 2 weeks with them in the Northwest. Here's one of the incidents.
Okay.
Last week, I called up my Uncle Norman to set up lunch. On the phone, he says to me, "Do you know Agnes has died?" And I went, "No, I didn't." "Who's Agnes?"
Okay.
Turns out, Agnes is my mum's cousin. Supposedly, I've met Agnes at some wedding somewhere. Or
Maybe
whatever.
when you were 5 or 6 years old.
Who knows? Remember, I lived in New Zealand and Australia for 14 and a half years. There's quite a gap there. Anyway. So I thought, well, I better ring my mother in case she doesn't know. So I called her up, and sure enough, she didn't know. I said, "Oh, Mum, I got some sad news for you. Your cousin Agnes has passed away." Oh. All right. So the next night, I'm round at my Auntie Hazel's. And one of the first things I said to her was, "Don't worry. I told my mother she knows all about Agnes." And Hazel goes, "Yeah, your mother rang here last night straight after you'd called her. So we put her straight." I went, "What do you mean you put her straight? Agnes isn't dead."
Right. So there must have been cross wires somewhere along the way, I'm guessing.
It turns out Agnes's husband, Derek, has died.
Not the actual person who was being talked about. Okay.
No. So I didn't ring my mother back because my mother will think I've got mixed up.
Yeah.
There's no way I've got mixed up because up until I spoke to Norman, I'd never heard of Agnes or Derek.
Right.
And the word Derek never came up. The only name I'd been given was Agnes. So why would I say the wrong one if I'd only been given... There's no way I've got it round the wrong way. There's no point ringing my mother back because it'll all be my fault.
And those two names would stick in your head.
I think so. There's a big... Yeah, Derek. I couldn't get those mixed up.
Yeah.
So, I'm just glad that my mother rang Hazel straight after she'd heard from me. Because the next call she could have made, thinking Agnes is dead, would be to Agnes's house, hoping to talk to Derek, to comfort Derek, right?
Yeah, well, that would be the natural thing to do.
Yeah, imagine that conversation. Hello? Hello, is Derek there? Who's this? It's Olive. I was Agnes's cousin. What do you mean you were my cousin? Who is this? It's me, Agnes. Oh, hello, Agnes. I thought you were dead. No, I'm not dead. Oh, what a relief. Anyway, how's Derek? So it's back again, the Eurovision Song Contest.
Certainly is, yeah.
The most ridiculous idea for a competitive event. We're going to have a contest to see who can write and perform the best song.
Who takes it seriously?
Not the UK for the last 20-odd years. We used to be really good at it. I mean, we're still really good at coming out with bad songs, but we're just not good enough to compete with the Eurotrash, really. Yeah. Making Your Mind Up by Bucks Fizz was a terrible song. And if you want to see some more as they rip the skirts off, I mean...
That's what Cheryl Baker credits their win too.
Yes. But how... I mean, you couldn't get away with that now.
No.
I mean, they would not be allowed to show that now.
I wouldn't have thought so.
And whose favourite?
Oh, Israel.
Okay, now I don't know what Israel have got for us this time, but Israel have got form.
Have they?
1978.
Right.
Israel won the Eurovision Song Contest.
Did they?
Yes. I was a small child, but I remember saying to everybody, "Since when has Israel been in Europe?" And the song, not in English.
Okay.
It always sounded to me like "I Want to Be a Polar Bear."
Oh, right.
It's on YouTube here.
Okay.
Even more. Nurit Hirsch, this is, conducting the orchestra for the Israel entry, song number 18.
It's Terry Wogan.
The song is called
back in 1978.
Yeah.
Blimey. Called. And here come Alpha Beta.
Alpha Beta.
Simple, peasant smocks, cream trousers, the girls all in white. And this is a good, vivacious song for Israel. Might do very well.
This sounds like the radio commentary, actually, the way he's describing everything. Is it still on the radio, Eurovision?
I think so.
I wanna be a polar bear. I wanna be a I wanna be a polar bear. I wanna be a polar bear.
Yeah, it does sound like it.
Bob's Breakfast.
I've had an amazing idea.
Right.
You know how there are certain things that wind me up?
Well, there's a few.
Yes. And there are also things that wind everybody up. Be good to put them down on paper in a list.
That's true, yeah.
Why stop there? Why not make it musical? Why not set the list to music?
I like the sound of this.
Okay, here's the idea. Billy Joel, We Didn't Start the Fire. He lists all these things. Harry Truman, Doris Day, Red China, Johnny Ray, right?
That's right, yeah.
All of those things are historic, and most of them are American. We could come up with something that's British and about right now.
And there's bound to be a big list as well.
Could you imagine how therapeutic that would be for me to sing that song?
Just get it out.
Just get it out! Just get it out there! I mean, I don't know what we'd have, but maybe Boris Johnson, Theresa May, Kim Jong-un, Corbyn, the Antiques Roadshow. I mean...
Smart motorways.
Smart motorways.
Met Office.
The Met Office. Cyclists. Traffic wardens. I could attack everybody in 4 minutes. I could attack everything that I hate in 4 minutes. Isn't this a brilliant idea?
Would that rid you of all your anger?
No, never. No, it'd only make me worse. But wouldn't it be great?
It would be good therapy.
Yes. Double doors that you push and one's locked. I mean, just anything like that, or anything to do with politics, or fines, or, you know, Simon Cowell, or Bill Gates. You know, I mean, 4 minutes might not be long enough.
I think we might need to do an extended version.
We might well do. But if there's just some stuff that either you've heard me whining about train fares, or there's something that's getting up your nose.
Rude sales assistants.
Oh! You can start calling in with them, and we'll start putting this thing together. We'll start the construction of the greatest protest song ever written.
It's Bob.
Every day we hear how the NHS is at breaking point, it's in crisis. Yet people continue to get stuff on the NHS that isn't about life-saving. Like, people get nicotine patches on the NHS. People get fertility treatment paid for by our tax money, and boob jobs. I mean, if your self-esteem is so low because your boobs aren't big enough, what's wrong with you having to pay for it? I've got no objection to you having a boob job, but why do I have to pay for it? Same deal with gastric bands. I don't get it. Leslie, tell me about your relative.
She was 37 stone.
Right.
And she had a gastric band fitted.
Right, on the NHS? Did we pay for it? Yeah.
And she also got permission to have the excess flesh removed.
Okay, right. And that was paid for by the NHS as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes. However, she lost, she went right down to 16 stone. She did so well.
Yeah.
And then they pulled the plug on the operation.
What do you mean they pulled the plug on the operation?
they said that she had to lose another 6 stone
Yes.
before they would operate.
Oh, to remove the excess skin.
Yes.
So they'd had the gastric band, but not the skin, right? Okay, yeah.
Yes, but then...
Well, actually, they didn't say she couldn't have it. They said they wouldn't pay for it. She could still have it if she paid for it herself.
Well, probably, yes, but she's not in a position to do that. And it makes her fall over.
The extra fat, right.
Yeah, it makes her fall over.
Well, then,
And,
then she should, when you say she's not in a position to do that, if that's the most important thing in her life, she must be spending money on something. Stop spending the money on whatever it is and save up and have the operation.
Well, yeah, is that to it. But she can't work because her joints are all preventing her from bending and moving about naturally.
So what work does she do? Is she a scaffolder or something?
No.
Can she answer the telephone?
No.
Can she talk to you on the telephone? If you ring her up, can she talk to you?
Yes, she can.
So she can use the telephone?
Right, so you're...
I'm saying some people's work...
telesales, I suppose.
Some people's work is just using the telephone.
Yes, yeah, okay. So you put me to shame.
No, what I'm saying is a lot of people...
I just feel so sorry for her because she works so hard.
Yeah.
And it's impossible for her to lose another 6 stone.
How's it impossible?
Well, because I think she's done enough and she's comfortable where she is. And surely when she gets on those scales, this skin and flesh...
she has a choice. She can carry on as she can carry on as she is, with a lifestyle as she is, and she can pay to have the surgery, or she can lose the weight and someone will pay for her to have the surgery. So she does have a choice.
Yes, she does. All right then.
All right. Cheers, Leslie.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
This is Bob.
So sad to hear that Keith Chegwin has died at the age of 60. When I was about 16, living in the Northwest, I went out with a girl called Julie Chegwin, and she told me she was Keith Chegwin's cousin. And I believed her. Up until 2005, when I met Keith Chegwin, and he told me he doesn't have a cousin called Julie. I was working at a radio station on the south coast called 2CR, and we put on a charity night at Bournemouth Pavilion to raise money for a local children's hospice, Julia's House. And we needed a host for the event. I don't know how Keith's name came up, but we called him, and when he found out why we were raising money, he agreed to do it for free. And on the night he was brilliant. He was funny and charming, and at one point he even sent himself up. 12 years earlier, he'd revealed he was an alcoholic in a live TV interview on This Morning. So at one point, during this do at the pavilion, he came out on stage with a 6-foot-high inflatable whiskey bottle. The next time I met Keith Chegwin was in 2012, when I was hosting the breakfast show on BBC Wiltshire in Swindon, and he was appearing in the panto Cinderella at the Wyvern Theatre. I interviewed him a couple of times for that show, and he was a total pro. In the first interview we did, he had a joke locked and loaded, and at the end of our chat he pulled the trigger. He said, "I've just got one of those new tablet computers. It's not an Apple. It's a pirate one. It's an eye patch." The next time he was on the show, he told me that he was having problems finding somewhere to park in Swindon while the panto was on. He was driving up from Reading. Well, the phones went mad with people offering to let him park in their driveway. I think he ended up taking up an offer from a local pub, and he parked in their car park while the panto was on. So, I remember Keith Chegwin for 5 things. Number 1, he was the kind of bloke people pretended to be related to. Number 2, he was a bloke that gave up his time to help others. Number 3, he didn't take himself too seriously. Number 4, he was funny. And number 5, and I think most importantly, he was likable. If you think about it, and you got the chance to pick what you are remembered for, wouldn't you like it to be just one of those 5 things? For me, Keith Chegwin, I'll remember him for all 5. That's why Keith Chegwin was a 5-star celebrity. I went back to school yesterday, you know.
Did you?
Yeah, I went to a really good school. I went to Pear Tree Spring Primary School in Stevenage. You been there? They're good kids.
I have spoken to them in the past, actually.
Have you? What did you speak
for
to
a
them about?
news interview. It was one of their chefs has been voted Regional Chef of the Year.
Wow.
School Chef of the Year.
Wow.
So the children there have got some really decent school grub as well.
They've got their own radio station.
Have they?
Yeah. Oh, no. It was really... They showed me it yesterday. I was invited... Jacqueline Massey. Oh, I've given away the teacher's first name there.
Oh, I'll never do that.
No. Anyway. You know when we were at Maplin?
Yeah.
When we had the grand opening of the new Maplin? She came to see me and she told me about the kids in the radio station and she invited me to go down there. So I went down there yesterday. Had some really good fun. Met some good kids. Lily Rose, Moona, Kelsey, Mia, Gaia, Ruby, Connor, Scarlett, Kareem, Chloe. You were all great. And they interviewed me on their radio station.
How did that go?
I think it went okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm a great guest, but it went okay. And we got talking. And I should mention Oliver, who was one of the people who interviewed me.
Yeah.
And we got talking about Lego. And Oliver made a startling observation about Lego.
Right.
He said he was in Toys R Us, and there's a sign that says, I think it was Toys, it was a big toy shop, and there was a sign that says Lego for age 9 to 99. And he said, why can't people who are 100 play Lego?
That's true. Exactly.
Good point.
Can you imagine a 100-year-old reaching their birthday, they've got some gift vouchers they want to go and spend, and somebody turns around at the toy shop and says, no, sorry, you can't do it.
Not so fast, Grandad.
Yeah. Get out.
Put that back. Is it discrimination?
I guess it would be.
Well, because, I don't know, is it discrimination for the under 9s, or is that a safety thing?
That's probably a safety thing, isn't it?
And for the over 9, maybe it's the same thing, maybe it's a choking hazard at both ends, I don't know. I just hope it's not discrimination. But Oliver, well done, that was a superb observation. Thanks for inviting me to your radio station, to Pear Tree Spring Primary School yesterday. I had a lot of fun.
It's breakfast on Bob.
Could you be a professional cuddler, do you think?
I don't like being touchy-feely with some people I don't know. You know, like I can cuddle Julie I could cuddle Julie the whole time. I could cuddle Julie 24 hours a day. I'm not sure she'd be too keen on being cuddled that much, but cuddling, I don't even, it's really difficult. Like, when it's like you're in a formal situation, like a work thing, and you're introduced to a bloke, it's easy to just shake hands.
Absolutely.
But with a woman, you don't know what to do.
No.
Because some women don't like you shaking hands, and some are like overly like the arms around, and then some want the kiss on the cheek, and I don't like doing that. So often I'll turn a cheek, and sometimes I end up with the cheek to cheek business.
Yeah.
And then there's the really awkward one where you go to shake hands, and then they come in for a cuddle and turn around. Next minute you've grabbed the sleepy puppy. I mean, it's fraught with danger.
It's that double kiss. That
which one?
That
one. It's just so awful. The cuddling thing. No, I couldn't be a professional cuddler. I don't like the touchy thing with people I'm not that close to.
They're cashing in £60 an hour for hugging sessions.
Oh, hang on though. Yeah. How much?
£60 an hour.
Oh, I think I could get used to it.
£300 for a cuddle sleepover.
Wait a second. You pay.
There's nothing untoward about this.
Oh no! For £300, there better be. It's a Wait a second. You pay £300 for a sleepover. Like I'm not into that. I'm just saying, as far as value for money goes, okay. If you've paid £300 and they've spent the night with you and all you got was a cuddle, you've been ripped off, my friend.
Well, this has been seen as a form of therapy now.
Oh, is it now? Yeah. Is it now?
Yeah, absolutely. The service was launched...
This sounds like a clever ruse to me.
You reckon?
It's like, because, it's illegal to take £300 for anything more than a cuddle, if you know what I'm saying. It's against the law, right? But if your defence is, oh no, we were only cuddling, do you expect this court to believe you paid £300 for a cuddle?
Well, there was a video actually came up on my Facebook timeline a couple of days ago about this, and there was this beardy bloke who was saying, it's completely innocent. All it is just a cuddle.
So the £300, you get cuddled all night by a beardy bloke?
Yeah.
Well, how do you guarantee he's not a drooler? Because he's going to fall asleep, isn't he?
Yeah.
If it's all night.
Fall asleep at some point, yeah.
Or a snorer.
Well, that is it. I mean, he needs some sort of guarantee that he's not going to keep you awake all night.
He's a beardy bloke. I don't want to be prejudiced here against beardy blokes, but it has to be said that a beardy bloke is more likely to be a bloke who, I don't know, the Campaign for Real Ale. They're all beardy blokes. Okay?
Majority, a fair number.
Yeah, camera. They're all beardy blokes. So the digestive system, and if he likes a beer, he's going to like a snack with a beer. Who doesn't like a snack with a beer? Maybe a curry. You could find yourself
an amazing picture.
You could find yourself trapped under the covers. This could be the Dutch oven, and you've paid £300. Talking about wild weather, because we had that beast from the east storm, and it's a shame that we don't always recognise an omen until a long time afterwards. I'm saying this because I survived a channel crossing from Jersey. It was awful. This was when I did the breakfast show on a radio station in Bournemouth. We did a promotion with Condor Ferries, and they flew us over to Jersey from Southampton. We did the breakfast show from a hotel the next morning, and we came back on the Condor Ferry, which was a jet cat. And it was a rough crossing. This jet cat was big, though. I mean, there's cars and trucks loaded on with a few hundred people, and it was fast. And I think it was the speed of it that made it even more uncomfortable, because nearly everyone was seasick. Yeah, it was terrifying. I remember looking at this little girl. She's about 8 years old. I turned away to look at something else for a second, and when I turned back, it looked like she'd exploded. She was just covered in sick. Yeah. I think she'd thrown up while we were on the top of a wave, and the boat had dropped, and so the spew was suspended in mid-air for a second, and then it started to obey Newton's first law of motion when gravity kicked in and it landed on top of her. Yeah. I should have known it wasn't going to be a pleasant crossing, though, because of the omen I saw the day before. You see, Condor Ferries had a marketing campaign with the slogan about this jet cat called "I Love My Cat." Only the word love was the picture of a heart, like the old "I Love New York" thing. And the day before, in St Helier, a car had gone past us with a Condor Ferries bumper sticker on and the slogan, "I heart my cat." But someone had coloured in the heart with black marker pen, so it looked more like a spade than a heart. So in effect it said, "I spade my cat." I thought it was funny at the time, but now I realise what was going on. Because on board that vomit comet, a lot of us nearly had kittens.
Bob's Breakfast.
Let's get the latest news. Chris Hubbard.
Well, we're not famed for our glorious weather. Plenty of tourists think our food is a bit rubbish as well, and quite a few people think our teeth are gross, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But there are some good bits to the country, you've got to admit. Although not everybody who visits this country kind of agrees with that and says they've enjoyed themselves. Disgruntled tourist reviews have been shared on Google Maps, the page for Great Britain. A lot of them pretty dismal. However, somebody did leave a positive review saying, better than average, but average as a nation.
Yeah, see, but they're missing the trick of what the great in Great Britain means. What does it mean for you? The great in Great Britain.
Oh, goodness, I've never even thought about this in the past. The great in Great Britain. I mean, beautiful places around the country.
Yeah, loads of places got beautiful places. Loads of countries got that.
I was going to say the people, but we're a bit of a mixed bunch, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
The great and great. Go on, enlighten me.
This is the greatest country on earth. Because nothing is your fault. Hey, fatso! You're not fat because you eat too much and don't exercise. You're fat because we haven't had a sugar tax. Because the government aren't paying for your gym membership. So go on, open wide and have another slice. Hey, choking smoker! You can barely make it up the stairs without wheezing. But it's not because you put the tobacco product in your mouth and lit it and sucked in the poisonous fumes. It's because the government didn't hide away the packets like they've done now in the supermarket between that flimsy wall and the shop assistant. It's because there weren't enough warnings about it, even though from birth you've known that smoking will probably kill you. It's not your fault! Hey, you, who hasn't sent any job applications off. You can't work because of all of the immigrants. It's got nothing to do with you. The immigrants are taking all the jobs. And if you're not making enough money from the handouts that we give you, it's because the immigrants are taking all the handouts as well. Yes, they are simultaneously taking all of the jobs and not working. Nothing is your fault. God bless the United Kingdom.
That was beautiful.
Oh dear, lots to get hold of this morning, Chris. The war on the drinking straw. Now.
Absolutely, yeah. Now they're targeting restaurants. Restaurants say they're going to be cutting down on these straws.
I've never understood the point of the drinking straw. I mean, was tilting a glass that much work?
You have to pick the glass up and then tilt it into your mouth.
Yeah.
Using a straw is a lot more involved.
It seems to be, yeah.
Because very often when they go in the drink, they float up and you have to keep pushing it back down into the drink and, it's just a hassle.
I've only ever spilled one drink in public in my life. And that was a drink that had a straw in it. I reached across the table to get something else, salt or something, I can't remember what. And because the straw was sticking out of the top of the thing, it knocked it over.
That's what happens.
Yeah, I'm with this. I'm with this campaign to reduce them.
100,000 straws a month is what just one chain's using.
I know, but once again, they're having to go at the straw itself, not the material it's made from. The problem is the plastic. Because remember, we used to have paper drinking straws. Where have they gone?
That's right. They were big in the 80s,
Yeah.
I seem to remember. But interestingly, this chain, Oakman Inns, is saying that they won't be serving up straws voluntarily.
Yeah.
But if someone asks for them, they'll give them an environmentally friendly version.
They will. They'll give them... Because the paper straw was an interesting thing, because if you were a kid and you sucked on it too long, it got soggy and stopped working, and my dad would lean over and he'd rip the top off the straw so you could start again with a fresh bit there. Yeah, so that's interesting. And who was your spokesman from the NHS?
Oh, well,
Spokeslady.
This is somebody from the Campaign for Better Hospital Food.
Yeah, okay. Now, once again, another reason why you're fat, and it isn't you. I'm sorry, if you're fat, it's you. But we found out that it was, let's see if I can keep up here. It's because of advertising, because there isn't a tax on soft drinks, because of 2-for-1 deals, because of supermarkets, because your doctor's fat was one of them. If you're fat, it's got nothing to do with you. Well, look, it has, okay? And now you're fat because they sell fizzy drinks in hospital shops.
Yeah, they're blaming hospital shops
And
now.
she's saying what she wants is choice. What does she... Have you got the audio there?
Yeah, here we go. This is Catherine Button from the Campaign for Better Hospital Food.
Pushed my button, that's for sure.
We really believe patients should have choice, and that should be a choice that really promotes their health and well-being. At the moment, a choice of 5 different sorts of fizzy drinks, that's not really a choice. So we want patients to have the option of a real healthy beverage that means they can hydrate in a way that's healthy and promotes their well-being.
She's a liar. She's a liar. She's saying... Well, if you want choice, then you actually should have the fizzy drinks there, the sugary drinks there, so you can choose one of those if you want one of those. That would be promoting choice, right? All of these shops sell water.
They do. All of them.
All of them. And some of them still and fizzy. In fact, there's all kinds of water. There's vitamin water, there's watered down cordial water, you know, that flavoured water, which is basically watered down cordial water. Yeah. They do have choice. She wants to take choice. She's dangerous. She wants to take choice away and claim she's giving you choice by doing that.
Well, they're targeting shops that have got outlets in hospitals, so the likes of W.H. Smith's, Subway and Greggs. I have never, ever been into a W.H. Smith where there hasn't been vast quantities of bottled water.
Bottled water?
Bottled water of all sizes.
Yes.
You can get little bottles of water, massive bottles of water.
No, she is a dangerous individual and a control freak, and she must be stopped.
It's Bob.
I was talking about people who were in famous bands. And in particular, Andy Summers, the guitar player from The Police. I mean, they were the #1 band in the world at one time. I've got Andy on the phone from his home in Santa Monica, California. Andy, do you still get bothered when you go out in public?
Well, it's all context, you know, it's context.
Yeah.
You know, if you appear in some sort of, you know, situation where people are they're more tuned to that, then you're going to get, you know, people come up to you and approach you.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. You know, I can go to the supermarket and just go in and out. Nobody, I don't get bothered. I mean, sometimes you get stuff like that, but most of the time I can live a fairly normal life.
Do they ask for the dreaded selfie?
Oh, yeah. It's the one thing I really hate.
Do you pose for them?
No, sometimes I do. A lot of the time I don't like it because, you know, like particularly with this thing I do in Brazil, you know, it's like, you know, lines around the bloody block. And in the old days, somebody would monitor it. You would sign an autograph by, thank you, very quick, you know, 1, 2, 3. Now they want to stand there. They're trying to get their camera to work. They all want a selfie. And each person takes 5 minutes. It's like, Christ. So you don't have a lot of alternatives except to leave immediately and not meet anybody, or you're going to be there for 3 hours. I mean, it's gotten sort of difficult, you know.
Yeah. I chatted to John Cleese. I went to meet him in Chelsea in his office, and we had a chat there for the show. And he will not pose for a selfie. He wouldn't even pose for one with me. Yeah. So there is. He's just got zero tolerance. Could you see it getting to that level?
Yeah, really. I mean, because you know. But I mean, you know, the same thing. You don't want to be like this horrible guy. You know, you just played from. They paid to come and see you, and they, you know, especially in foreign countries, they expect it. I think you have to set it up. You know, like no selfies. You know, somebody has to be out front saying no photographs. You sign autographs. Give us your autograph book or whatever, or the photo or whatever you want signed, or the record. But no, we're not doing selfies because it's just. I mean, literally. Well, there's 2 reasons. It takes too long.
Yeah.
You know, you'll be there all night trying to get through the line. And 2, they're always horrible. So, you know, if you have any vanity about your image, you look like in a selfie, and then they can put it on the internet.
Because it's so close and it's wide angle. And
it's horrifying.
Andy, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Yes, great talking to you, Graham. Thank you very much. All best.
The news this morning that in France, illegal for blokes to wolf whistle at women. You have some concerns about this, Scott.
Now, I represent a movement called MFB, and that is Men Fight Back. Okay, well,
Scott.
If you're a man, if you're a man in a position of power, you really need to stick up for your own sex.
Okay.
And if you would please.
Okay.
We're relying on people like you in the public eye. Now, I'm after something called equality.
Right.
And that's right across the board.
Yeah.
And a lot of women nowadays, I mean, back in the 90s, it's not a new thing. Women started going to watch dance troupes, all-male dance troupes called the Dream Boys.
Yeah.
Stuff like this.
And others, yeah.
Yeah. Now, you get just as many women, ravenous women, that will lech quite openly, and they get away with it because society deems it acceptable, over young guys in pubs and laughing at men's demise. Men are portrayed as buffoons on adverts and in television and in life in general. And this is where I believe quite strongly that the balance needs to be redressed. And if you want equality, girls, then you're going to have to meet us in the middle. Because if you don't, guess what? We're going to be in a demographic winter. The population's going to go down. We're not going to want you. You're going to get the weak guys, the guys that you can control. But this is what they want anyway. They want the guys that are going to give them all the resources and all the money, which is what it's all about.
So, Scott, you're saying that the women there's a campaign to actually degrade men and devalue them so that the women can have more power. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I should think that if any man hasn't noticed it, then he's had his head in the sand like an ostrich for the last few years.
So when people use the phrases like man flu, that's degrading to men?
Well,
is that all part of it?
Us being guys, we don't take exception of any silly little thing like man flu or anything like that.
Yeah.
We haven't got our head in the clouds. We're not trying to make a point.
Well, we wouldn't get away with describing something as woman flu, would we? That would be deemed as sexist. But man flu seems acceptable.
The word sexism seems to only exist when it benefits a woman.
Okay.
It's a shovel for her to dig with, basically. When you go to a bar in a pub or you go to a restaurant in any place up and down the country or indeed in the Western culture, you will see men paying 90% of the bills.
Mm-hmm.
That is a fact. I used to work in a restaurant and I saw it all the time. Now, if they want equality, then I'm all for it. I only accept a woman that is my peer and my equal. If she's not, she can hit the highway. Now, this is not a new thing.
Okay, well, we're running out of time here, Scott, but wolf whistling then, should it be allowed or not? Because in France, they're going to fine people for wolf whistling, fine men, I'm guessing, for wolf whistling.
Well, as I've said, it goes on with women too. Women, you know, they do it as much as men. If they want to be pseudo men, then they're going to have to tough up and they're going to have to be like us. If they don't like it, then they just have to swallow it, won't they? Because the nature of a man is to notice a palatable woman. Now, secretly, if they're honest, I believe they actually like it. They want to be lusted after. They spend 45 minutes in front of the mirror every morning.
Okay, well, let's find out. If you are a lady, do you want to be wolf whistled? Do you enjoy being wolf whistled? Has Scott got a point here?
A camel beauty contest in Saudi Arabia has been rocked by scandal after 12 of them were disqualified because their owners had used Botox on them. Prize money for the Miss Camel competition runs into millions of pounds.
Thanks a lot, Chris. And good news for Katie Hopkins. She won second prize in that camel beauty contest. Oh no, he's back on the phone. Mark the Shark. This is a bloke who used to listen to me when I was on the radio in Birmingham. Now he stalks me online, listening to my every word on every radio station I'm on. And now and again he calls up. I think he believes that he's mission control for this show in some warped way. He's not quite right. He just exists in his dirty council flat on the outskirts of Birmingham, listening to this show and complaining to himself. Shark.
Frank Skinner, how are you?
What are you on about, Frank Skinner? What are you talking about?
You sounding more like Frank Skinner as you're singing in a microphone in the studio. Oh, looking at your mate, buddy above you.
I don't sound a bit like Frank Skinner.
Big Ben, it's all going on.
Big
when
Ben?
you're looking on the website and you're looking at this DJ radio presenter, whatever.
What are you... Mark, you're making no sense this morning.
Rewind the track. I'm looking what you've been putting on the websites.
What, at BOBfm.co.uk?
Yes! And at the end of the day, you started to sing in the studio making up stories about Mr. Trump.
You mean my song, my protest song, I Didn't Start the Fire?
Your protest song, is that what you want to call it?
I didn't start the fire, it's a protest song.
But as you're expressing yourself,
yes,
you're turning yourself into the look of Frank Skinner.
I don't look like Frank Skinner or sound like him.
Oh, you do! You're looking more and more like him. Look!
Shark, you're scaring me now. You're scaring me now.
You'll never lie.
Yeah. Right, okay.
You said, I remember you turning around saying, it's all smoke and mirrors, Shark.
It's all smoke and mirrors, Shark. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Start looking in the mirror.
All right, yeah.
Because I'm telling you now,
yeah,
you're looking more like Frank Skinner.
All right, well, listen, Mush. I like what I see when I look in the mirror. I'm sure the same thing can't be said for you.
I'm looking at 4 pairs of Mack boots.
Yeah, all right. Oh, what are you on about? What are you on about?
Boris Johnson budget day, Brexit, Theresa May, Kim Jong-un, Corbyn, the Antiques Roadshow, Green Party, drug addiction, global warming, Eurovision, North Korea, South Korea, Gary Barlow. Cyclists, shotgun, sugar tax, Kardashians, Bake Off, CSI, Rupert Murdoch, price of sky, Russians in a submarine, England's got an old queen, Barcelona, liberation, Catalonia, goodbye. I didn't start the fire, it was always burning since the world's been turning. I didn't start the fire, no, I didn't light it, but I tried to fight it. Simon Cowell, Microsoft, Bill Gates, petrol cost, Daily Mail, TV's in jail, Irish border block. .com, Bitcoin, traffic wardens, Macron, girly men, Westminster, fixing Big Ben's clock. Parking fine, Brill cream, city's got a winning team. Prosecco, Rocket Man, Donald Trump, Euroland, Barbie dolls, bank interest, train fares, bad breath, steeplechase, horse race, Boaty McBoatface. I didn't start the fire, it was always burning since the world's been turning. I didn't start the fire, no, I didn't light it, but I tried to fight it. Little shop, bum crack, scented candles and a rack, fly, tipping samurai, stealth taxis on the slide, space station, shopping mall, David Beckham conference call, congestion charge, diesel cars, carbon dioxide. Shopping trolleys, dancing bears, lab monkeys, fun fairs, pubs turning gastro, government funds a quango, smokers, herbal tea, childhood obesity, double-deckers disco, Beatles song by Elbow. I didn't start the fire, it was always burning since the world's been turning. I didn't start the fire, no, I didn't light it, but I tried to fight it. Smart motorways, rat runs, IVF, gastric bands, villains, built-ins, power of persuasion. Saudi Arabia, political megalomania, raw fish, tax men, the Pope and the Vatican, the Wailing Wall, free flight check, boob jobs on the NHS, railway, home and away. What else do I have to say? I didn't start the fire, it was always burning since the world's been turning. I didn't start the fire, no, I didn't light it, but I tried to fight it. I didn't start the fire, it was always burning since the world's been turning.
Bob's Breakfast.
If you say Jesus backwards, it sounds like sausage. Just because Jesus backwards sounds like sausage doesn't mean you can depict the Saviour as a sausage roll in a nativity scene. Greg's the Bakers.
They're in trouble.
It's a genius PR move, though, isn't it?
Oh, well, people are talking about it. Greggs are getting a lot of airtime and a lot of coverage in newspapers.
Greggs the bakers have apologised after replacing the baby Jesus with a sausage roll in a nativity scene to promote their advent calendar. A right-wing pressure group called the Freedom Association isn't happy. Simon Richards, who's their chief executive, described the image as sick. The Freedom Association. I've looked them up. They describe themselves as a centre-right libertarian organisation.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Non-partisan centre-right, yeah.
Yeah, non-partisan. Only most of their members are Conservatives and UKIP. Non-partisan. Now, to me, it seems a bit strange for an organisation that describes itself in one of its descriptions there on the net as libertarians, and are actually called the Freedom Association, that they want to censor the advertising campaign of a business. And if you are offended by what Greggs have done, you are free to never spend your money there again. That's freedom. Banning them from having a nativity scene where instead of a baby Jesus there's a sausage roll, I think that actually infringes their freedom. I do agree with Simon Richards, though, because he also goes on to say in a tweet, we all know that they would never dare insult other religions. But isn't that a good thing? Doesn't it show that most Christians have got a sense of humour and wouldn't attack Greggs shops like maybe radical factions of other faiths might? I really don't see what all the fuss is about. A lot of Christians are told that the communion wafer literally is the flesh of Christ. If he can be a wafer, why can't he be a sausage roll? You built one of these Ikea wardrobes, didn't you?
Yeah, quite a few of them, actually.
Have you really?
Yeah.
The wardrobe is the... I mean, we've made like tables and cabinets and stuff in the past from Ikea, and that's the thing with Ikea. They're like drug dealers. They start you off on the soft stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we started off bedside cabinets.
Bedside cabinets, that kind of thing, coffee tables, whatever.
Stool.
Yeah. And then they know when you're completely hooked, that's when they get you in on the real hard stuff, the self-assembly wardrobe.
Oh, yeah.
And as you know, we're moving to this new tiny flat, much smaller than the one we're in now. The one we're in now is small, 2-bedroom flat, but there's other ones even smaller. And so we've had to throw a lot of stuff out, and storage is a main issue.
Well, this is it. In that sort of place, you need to find somewhere to tidy everything away where you can't see it and it doesn't look cluttered.
That's right, exactly. Because you only have to leave, like, you know, your mobile phone out and the place looks cluttered. It's that small.
Right.
So we got this idea of getting these, they're called PAX, P-A-X.
Yeah, we bought one of them.
Yeah.
At the last place.
Yeah, and this thing went floor to ceiling in the bedroom. And thought this will be great because it'll go right to the ceiling. There's no waste of space. There's no space on top of the wardrobe.
Yep.
You can't put like suitcases or whatever you normally put on top of wardrobes that make them look untidy. It goes right to the top and doors shut. You can't put all the suitcases. You just shut the doors on them.
Yeah. Pretty much you might have an inch left over at the top and you can't even see the dust on top.
An inch left over on the top.
Normally the way.
So we ordered this thing. And there was so much of it, it had to be delivered. You couldn't even get it in the car because it's floor to ceiling. It's, you know, big.
They're heavy things as well.
Yeah. And there's baskets and all kinds of things, drawers to make, and it's a big job. So we had this thing delivered. So Friday night we went round there because we've got the new flat now, but we're still in the rental that we're in now. So we've basically got 2 flats on the go until beginning of next month. So we had it all delivered. We went down. That was going to be our Friday night. Not much of a Friday night, but, you know.
Many a Friday night I've spent decorating recently.
Well, your new place, so you know all about it. So we get it all out of the packet, and then we go through all the hundreds of bits that come with it. Check that this. So we're supposed to have 16 of these, 4 of those round things, 5 of those, one of these plastic things These angle iron pieces.
120 pieces of dowel.
Yeah, and these pieces. No, that's not them. See, these have got a flat head. They've got a more roundy head. That's them there. That's it. So we get them all laid out. Count them all out. They're all there. Get all the pieces. Make sure all the other pieces are there. Unpack everything. Right. First job. I'll get that. The destructions out. First job. Screw these things into here. No, it's not that way. See, it's got a groove on that side. So it's not that side. It's the other side. It's 3 holes back in. Right, it's that hole there. That goes in there. Screw that in. Screw that in there. Tap these bits of dowel in these end bits. Push them in and then tap them in with the screwdriver because they don't push in. Go through all this. So we've now got, I think we've got 4 of these big panels with like screws and bits of angle iron on them and dowel sticking out of them and all the rest of it.
Yeah, preparation's key.
Yes. All right. So I said, well, for the next bit, we need to stand this piece up to get this next bit in by the looks of things on here. So we're a couple of hours in now. So I go to stand it up. Won't stand up.
What, is the ceiling not high enough?
Well, you could put it that way, or you could say that the panel's too long.
Oh, no. But surely you measured it, didn't you?
It was measured.
Yeah.
Have to say, not by me.
Right.
In fact, using that phrase, I'm already in a lot of trouble now. There was the minimum of an eye roll at my house just now.
I almost heard it.
Yeah, it was audible. It was an audible eye roll. Julie had measured the...
You're in so much trouble.
I know. Julie had measured the floor-to-ceiling height before they'd put the carpet in.
Oh. I guess you've got underlay under there, haven't you? So that, what?
It's a good inch. It's got to be a good inch high. Because Julie said there should have been 10 mil clearance, a centimetre clearance at the top, between the top and the ceiling. Now, who knows? Because it wouldn't fit.
Oh, no. So what are you going to do?
Well, I rang Ikea and said, look, this has happened.
Yeah.
We measured it up, didn't allow for the carpeting. It's too big. We need the shorter one. And, you don't order just a wardrobe. I think there were, 12 different things you order each, because it's pick and mix.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had to order all of the other things and then say, look, can you come round and pick up? So we've got to pack up. Last night, we were packing up.
What, everything you put together?
Yeah, taking it to bits, putting it together, and taking these ripped cardboard sheets and taping them together.
Because you're not careful when you do. You just got to rip them open and you think, you'll go.
It's a good job. I reckon if it had been in our current place, I would have thrown the bits out. I would have, let's get these out of here. Let's give us some room to work.
Yeah.
But because the flat's empty, you're all right. You've got a bit of space. Really, I would have nearly thrown. So we have to tape it, and that was last night taping up. But when I was on the phone to him, they said, well, if you tape it all up, we will collect it. I said, well, can you collect it on the same day as you delivered the other one, the one that we do? Yeah. So she goes through it, and it took ages because I had to order individual pieces with order numbers. They only work by numbers. I'm sure the lady on the phone had no idea what I was ordering, even though I'm on the website on the phone. I'm on the phone and I'm on the computer looking at the numbers and the pictures of the little drawers and all the rest of it. And so I must have been on the phone for half an hour, but it was half an hour of shame. The lady on the phone was lovely.
Yes.
But still I felt it.
You do feel like an idiot, don't you?
Well, I failed.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, she says, because you've gone for the shorter one now, you've saved £200.
Well, that's not bad, is it?
Expecting me to go, great.
Yeah.
And I just went, great.
Bob's Breakfast.
Why is this the greatest country on earth, Chris?
Because nothing is ever our fault.
Nothing is your fault. That's right. If you can't get a job, it's not your fault. It's because of all the immigrants. If you smoke, it's not your fault. It's not because you put the thing in your mouth and light it. It's because the NHS aren't doing enough to help you give up. If you're broke, it's not because you spend too much money. It's because there's too many adverts on TV making you buy things. It's all the adverts' fault. Nothing is your fault. And the biggest one of all, if you're fat. It's not because you eat too much and don't exercise. There must be 100 reasons now, Chris.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Ranging from adverts again. Adverts are usually
Tony the Tiger and the Milky Bar Kid were in the firing line yesterday.
I'm going to get onto that. If you're overweight, it's not because you eat too much and don't exercise. It's because fast food is too easy to get. It's because, your doctor is fat. Remember that one? That was my favourite one. You're fat because your doctor's fat. And adverts of different things, whatever. And the sugar tax came too late for you.
Yeah.
So future generations won't be fat. Right. Now we get on to why your kids are fat. And your kids are not... Remember, nothing is your fault. Nothing is your fault. Your kids are not fat because you feed them too much and drive them to school. That's not why they're fat. Don't be silly. That wouldn't make them fat. No, they're fat because of video games. They're fat because of fizzy drinks. They're fat because of 2-for-1 offers at the supermarket. They're not fat because you feed them too much and drive them to school and they don't get enough. It's got nothing to do with that. And now, another reason why your children are fat, as you pointed out, Chris. Tony the Tiger, the Milky Bar Kid, and the Honey Monster.
That's right.
These are the three people. These are the only reasons why your kid's fat. There's no other reason.
If there was an apocalypse today, they would be riding on horseback, wouldn't they?
Absolutely. They are the three horsemen of the obesity apocalypse. They are the Milky Bar Kid, who can already ride a horse.
Yeah, that's right.
Tony the Tiger, who could probably handle himself on a horse.
Yep.
The Honey Monster, I'm not so sure.
Bit cumbersome, maybe a shy horse.
Maybe you could get them to ride the Honey Monster. I don't know. But they're the reason why your kids are fat. And Jamie Oliver has waded into this.
Oh, has he?
Oh, yeah, he's waded in. This is from the Sky News website this morning. TV chef and campaigner Jamie Oliver told a committee, this is a cabinet committee, that cartoons and superheroes should not be used to, quote, peddle rubbish. Because we know that everything that Jamie Oliver peddles is far from rubbish. He's warned Theresa May to act now as the future of the NHS is at stake. So Jamie Oliver. Now, when I was a kid, I was a skinny kid. And I was a skinny kid for two important reasons. Those two important reasons: my mother was a terrible cook. Awful. Her idea of an evening meal would be brown chips that had been fried in chip fat that could be carbon dated because they never threw it away. It went in the cupboard. The pan went in the cupboard with the chip fat still in it, so that next time she wanted to make chips, she would take the pan out and use the same fat over and over and over again.
You know what? Same for me.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
It's a generational thing. This was how our mothers operated. The chips would gradually get browner and browner and browner. Terrible chips.
But those beautiful days when eventually the oil was changed.
Yeah.
Golden chips.
We changed the oil on our car more often than we changed the oil in that chip pan. We looked after our car's engine, a Chrysler Avenger, than we did the children's health. Anyway, so brown chips with cold corned beef that had originally been in a tin but was being served from in between two plates from inside the fridge. Now, two plates, they're magical plates. They keep things fresh. I don't know how they do it. Tupperware took ages to get that burping thing going, but mothers use just two plates. So you'd have like these brown chips and then this freezing cold corned beef. To her, that was an evening meal. She was just an awful cook. And most of my friends had mothers who were awful cooks as well. Terrible. Most of them. Awful. So that was the one thing that kept me skinny. The other thing, the meals at school were inedible. We were served bullets. We were served frog spawn. We were served rubber, masquerading as food. So consequently, we didn't eat that much because it was horrible. So we were skinny. We walked to school, and at playtime, we ran round kicking anything. If we didn't have a ball, it'd be a stone. Or anything we could find. We just ran round. We just never stopped moving, and we didn't eat as much. We were all skinny.
Before PE, every single week, we had to run a kilometre around the field. Now, when you're younger, a kilometre's quite a long way.
Long way.
I heard the other day that the school stopped doing that because it was too far.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Okay. So, along comes Jamie Oliver, the bloke who's talking about Tony the Tiger and the Milky Bar Kid and the Honey Monster. Along comes Jamie Oliver with his cooking show. And he starts teaching mums how to cook tasty food. Then he doubles down. He releases DVDs and books on how to prepare tasty meals for children. He goes further than that. He improves school meals. And he's made the food that our children are eating edible and tasty. And now the kids are eating too much. And now all the kids are fat. This week we had statistics from primary schools.
We did, yes. Yeah.
Talk about your circumstantial evidence. They're saying from the time when a kid starts school to the time when a kid leaves school, their weight is increasing. It's out of control.
Yeah, yeah.
You got the... You can find that story there?
I'm just going to have a look for it now.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
This was a story this week. A story not involving...
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Analysis has found nearly twice as many children in England are severely obese by the time they finish primary school than when they start.
Yeah.
So they're saying more than 22,000 Year 6 pupils have a weight problem.
Yeah.
So these are the stats.
What's the difference? School meals! You don't have to be any kind of scientist to look at those figures and work out what's making the kids fat. They weren't fat before they went to school. By the end of primary school, they're all fat. It's the school meals, and that's because Jamie Oliver has banned turkey Twizzlers. Turkey Twizzlers, a very, very unhealthy thing to eat. But the thing was, they tasted so bad, the kids weren't eating them. So now they're being fed food they can actually eat. But it all gets back to my main point. Nothing is your fault. And like I said, if your kids are fat, it's not your fault. It's Jamie Oliver's fault! Anyone thinking about getting a dash cam, don't do what I did, do what Chris Hubbard did.
Why is this?
Well, you and I took very different approaches to this.
Yeah.
You bought one of the cheapest ones you could.
Yeah, it was about 50 quid.
50 quid. Stuck it to your windscreen and plugged it into the cigarette lighter.
Yeah. Wrapped the cabling round some of the pillars and hid it all out of the way.
Yeah. I couldn't do that, could I? I couldn't do that. Your example, and you even had an insurance, an incident where a guy, he took your wing mirror off or something?
Yeah, scraped the side of the car, ran into the car, got the evidence, ended up in court.
Used in court.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm inspired by this story. But why couldn't I do what you did? 50 quid, plug in the cigarette lighter, stick it to the windscreen. Oh, no, I have to go the whole hog, don't I?
Well, it was quite impressive, your effort.
Yeah. Don't.
No?
Don't do it. Don't do it. If you're thinking of getting a dash cam fitted to your car, professionally fitted, don't do it. Unless you enjoy spending ever-increasing amounts of money on software and SD cards, and you've got hours of spare time to faff about with it. I thought I wanted one for Christmas. I had one fitted to my car. Actually, I had two fitted. Because the last accident I was involved in, a bloke went into the back of me. So I wanted a front one and a back-facing camera as well. Well, of course, they cost more. And the price went up from just under £100 to around £200. Then I decided I wanted HD video. Because I thought, well, I want to be able to clearly read the number plate of anyone who hits me. Well, that cost even more. Then there's the cost of this weird power controller thing that you have to have. It makes sure your battery doesn't go flat while it records in parking mode. By the time I'd bought all of the hardware and had the thing fitted, I had a bill for just under 400 quid.
Whew.
And that was just the beginning of my nightmare. The camera uses tiny SD cards, about the size of your little fingernail. Same things that go into your smartphone, those fiddly little things. So getting it in and out of the camera is beyond fiddly, especially if you're in the driver's seat and you're right-handed, which most people are.
Yes. And that's where you would tend to change the cards from.
Yes. The dash cam is attached high up inside the windscreen on the left, so you've got nothing to lean on. Your arms are flailing around in the air. First, you've got to unplug the power lead, then the other lead that runs to the rear camera. Once you've done that, you pop off a cap, and finally, with your little finger, push the end of the tiny SD card in to make it pop out by about 2 millimeters, just enough for you to grip the edge of the card with your fingernails. And then, the next thing you do is drop it and lose it somewhere in the car. Thankfully, because the card is out of the camera and the power is disconnected, you don't get to digitally record the audio of you swearing at yourself. The interior of my car, as you know, is black. And so is the micro SD card. So after moving the passenger seat backwards and forwards, I eventually found the micro SD card in one of the cup holders. So I put the tiny SD card in the adapter that turns it into a full-size SD card. Now, this thing's not much bigger than a postage stamp. Why they needed to reduce it to a quarter of that size, I'll never know. I would have been happy with something that size. I could have worked with that. It's not a giant thing. It's not like it's a huge VHS tape. It's a thing the size of a postage stamp. Why can't the cameras just take that? Anyway, so I put it in the adapter thing and stuck it in the back of my iMac. That's when I discovered that iMovie cannot read AVI files. That the dashcam records in. So I downloaded the viewer software from the dashcam manufacturer's site. I can't edit or save any of the files with it.
Right.
Because it's just a viewer.
Oh.
But I can at least see and hear what's captured.
Yeah.
Now, I drive to Liverpool and back every Sunday. And I was hoping that I'd be able to capture some of the weird stuff I see on the road. You know, hazy sunrise over the Birmingham skyline from the M6. Or maybe the cows crossing the cow bridge over the motorway on their way to be milked. Or perhaps the drunks on Hanover Street, Liverpool, that try to hail me thinking I'm an Uber. Or the drunken girls wearing tiny dresses, barefoot, holding their shoes, zigzagging along the pavement, dodging pavement pizzas.
You could have sold these to the Daily Mail.
Exactly. But the 16 gigabyte micro SD card that comes with the dashcam only has enough storage for about half an hour's worth of HD recording.
And it loops round.
Once it's filled that up, it goes back to the beginning and erases it. So by the time I get home, all you ever get is the last half an hour of your last journey. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
But don't forget parking mode. I got about an hour's worth of the brick wall I park against at home. Now, I need a bigger SD card. I'm on a 16 gig. I need bigger ones.
Yeah.
So I go to Wilco's. I think they'll be the cheapest. 65 gig micro SD card was the biggest one they had. 25 quid.
Yeah, they're not cheap, are
No. And I need two. Because when I take one out of the camera, I want to put a fresh one straight in. So I bought two from Wilco's, 25 quid each. So now I'm another 50 quid light. I've still no way of saving the footage because I can't read the thing. I can only look at it. I can't edit it. So anyway, I put the 65 gig micro SD card in, drove around for a few days, decided last night to take it out and see what's on it. So I dropped it again in the car after moving both seats this time, found it again on the front ledge in front of the Speedo. Stuck the micro SD card in its adapter, slotted it into the back of the iMac. This time, the computer couldn't even read the card.
Oh, no.
So I Googled what to do and looked at a 12-year-old on a YouTube video telling me what to do. Turns out that the SD card hadn't been formatted. Now, I know when I put it in the camera, there's this bossy female told me to wait while it was formatting. Well, she must have been lying, because it wasn't formatted. So I found out I could format it through this viewer software that I downloaded, but that means erasing everything on the card. Well, that's no great loss. I couldn't read what was on there anyway. So I formatted and erased the card. Now, the computer recognised the 65 gig micro SD card. So I went to the preferences section. This is where you set up how you want the camera to work. Because I don't want it to record the sound from inside the car. I think that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
And I wanted to change how it records in 1 minute chunks. I wanted to extend that and go to about 3 minute chunks.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I go to the preferences section. Oh no, can't do that. No firmware on the card.
What?
What is?
What's that?
No idea. But it
I've
doesn't.
heard of it.
But the SD card you get from Wilco's doesn't have firmware for my dash cam on it, which maybe I should have known. So I found on the manufacturer's website, I found the firmware for my model number of dash cam. So I downloaded that. But I can't work out how to get the firmware onto the card. I've tried the drag and drop thing.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't do it. So now I've gone back to the original 16 gig micro SD card.
Did this one come with the camera?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. The two I bought from Wilco's at a cost of 50 quid, waste of time. So and that's just 50 quid down the drain. So I've gone back to this original 16 gig micro SD card that came with the camera. I don't even know if it's recording or not. And I'm scared to take it out in case I lose it, because I've only got the one now.
Yeah.
That'll work. If it is working. Because I don't know if it is. I've noticed that the light doesn't come on anymore when I'm parked.
Oh.
So maybe that's because I erased and reformatted it. Maybe I did something to the firmware and it doesn't... So now I won't get any footage of the brick wall in front of the flats anymore. To be honest, I've had enough of it. I really wish I hadn't spent close to £450 so far. Now, I could buy 2 65 gigabyte micro SD cards from the manufacturer's site. And to be fair to them, the instruction book does make it very clear that they don't recommend you use any other kind. But I just thought that was a scam-a-llama ding-dong to sell more of their SD cards.
Well, you tend to, don't you?
Yeah. You go, oh, of course you're only going to recommend your own.
Yeah.
But the thing is, their ones might come complete with the correct firmware. But I don't know. All I know is that the manufacturer's SD cards, 65 gigabyte.
Yeah.
They cost £89 each.
What? And how big are these? Sorry again, how many gigabytes?
The size of they're 65, same as the ones 65. I got from Wilco's for 25 quid.
25 quid.
They're 89. But even if I do that,
yeah.
So that's nearly another 200 quid, isn't it? I still won't be able to read what's on there because the iMac software doesn't read AVI files.
Yeah.
But I found I can download some software that reads it and edits on a Mac. And you can save things. But that's another £44. The irony is, the main reason I got a dash cam was in case I had an accident, like when that bloke went up the back of me.
Yeah.
But now, I feel like I've been rear-ended by the dash cam!